Hello and welcome to the Golden League. I'm Dorjan.
And I'm Highflyer 15.
And today we're bringing you the live games. There's a bit of confusion in the chat I saw of the Golden League today. The first game we have got is between Power and LOL, Team 1. And we're going to go straight into it with absolutely no delay. Into battle, and we're going to be watching from the point of view of League of Liberty. Let's show the overlay and get straight in. And League of Liberty's not on 1, they're on 0. And we'll go straight into it there. And oh god. Brain tissues. Oh dear. I know what to do. I know how to fix this.
Yeah.
You talk, sir.
Okay, well, as we can see, we have a more unusual lineup this time, which is great because seeing the same lineup on every single map and just seeing that one lineup is the most dominant one is pretty, well, boring to say the least, in my opinion. But we're now seeing that a T50-2 has been chosen on League of Liberty's team, and also a T32. And on the other side of the we have on Power, we have 2 AMX 5100s and then 2 IS3s, 1 T69 and then 2 T1s. So no artillery whatsoever. And that League of Liberty has decided to go with 2 artilleries, the Sturmpanzer 2 and the Bison. And yeah, that should be interesting to see if those points, those 5 points, could have been spent better, because League of Liberty has gone for a very fast scout tank with a lot more health than one T1, so he can survive one shell and then die in the second one if he decides to go in for a quick scouting run and get out alive. But of course, we're getting some capping from one of the T1s, which I was just about to talk about, which is 60. That one, the T1, he's going into the base and actually doing what I was about to say, which was they can afford to lose one of those because they have 2. So if one of them dies, then they still have 1 more to send out, whereas League of Liberty will lose their eyes if they lose their 1 tank. And that's where the points have been better distributed, because there's 2 shots wasted in the T1s, whereas there's 2 shots wasted in 1 tank on League of Liberty team in the T50-2. So he really has to be a lot more careful, because if he dies, then they have nothing else to scout with.
Indeed. So I've got the frame rate back a bit. I believe I didn't launch via the new client like a fool. But I've got most of the frame rate back, and we'll try and fix it between these 2 games. But I really can't wait to see how Power plays this out with no artillery support whatsoever against a team with, artillery support, as you pointed out. So far, no artillery has connected, so at the moment, Power obviously getting the advantage, and they are rushing like a maniac into the base here of League of Liberty. Just Cool, Zoe, Totalizer, Palace and Zixi are all here on the edge trying to force League of Liberty to come round, but they've left Stug back there in his IS3 to prevent Lucky Russia getting around the back, and they're going to push forward now on as a team. And Totalizer and Strecco and Pinocchio, Live for Surf and Cassius Clay are bombarded them with everything they've got, while Power is trying to make a play. And do you know what? None of their shots are really connecting from Power. There's still a lot of HP left on the League of Liberty guys' team.
Yeah, and the same can be said about League of Liberty. They've been firing a lot of shells, but the HP didn't start flying until the last few shells we've just seen. And the T69 is having a encounter with the 50-100, and it gets taken out with the much superior HP left on it and the firepower, which would fire a lot faster, and it did.
Now Stug is unable to he's just trying to get back in time, but so far no one has gone down for League of Liberty and no one's really close. Pinocchio, 2 shots would still be required to take him down, and we're seeing everyone dropping down from Power Team right now, but Stug is trying to make something happen against Streko, even ramming him to get him within 1 shot of dying, and his next shot should finish him off. Waiting for it. Was that his shot?
I think that was his shot, yeah.
Did not go through. Now he's going to have to reload again, but at the time that he's doing this, Palace is actually getting beaten up by a T1, so the T50-2 from Lucky Russia, but Stug does reload as the Bison comes, so the Sturmpanzer 2 comes in and takes him down. So now we have Stug at max HP versus Live for Surf, Pinocchio and Mr. Crazy Belka. And you know what? Looking at the HP left, this was actually a lot closer than it looked. 1 more shot. If the first shot went through and actually finished off Streko, then it wouldn't have actually been so bad at all. Live for Surf and Mr. Crazy Belka both were auto-loaders, so if they had fired every shot they had fired, they were vulnerable. The rest of the team were actually really vulnerable. So if Power were just a little bit more together and focus fire just that little bit more, they could have actually taken that. Or at least been close.
Yeah, closer.
Yeah.
Yep. But
so, let's have a quick look at the artillery. That's what I want to see. 0 damage and 500 damage. So, yeah.
Worth it? I don't think so. Not on Ensk. You have way too much to cover.
Maybe, but what's the rest? What did the rest of Power's team do? A lot of damage actually. 2,000 damage came off from Stug at the end there. It proves how powerful he could have been. And Palace also did 2,000 damage, so that was pretty good. I'm going to quickly restart my client though, so we're going to full faces as I try and recover some HP there. Sorry, HP. Got my mind on the game. Some FPS there.
Yeah, but a Bison with 2 points doing 0 damage on 6 shells, I would actually just switch it out immediately. But yeah, they won the game, so there's no real reason to change the lineup. So that's probably what we're going to see. It's the exact same lineup because it did work.
Yeah, what about the fear of artillery? Once Power did come around that corner, the Sturmpanzer did do a lot of damage. Maybe the Bison was just a little bit unlucky, looking the wrong way, and the Sturmpanzer was covering the other direction. Now, if the Sturmpanzer had to cover both direction, maybe that wouldn't have worked, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Power really didn't care about artillery at all. They just drove forward, and they didn't even look for it. Of course they shouldn't have, but just getting to the closest buildings, they didn't really just push for the buildings. They kind of just scrambled a little bit and started shooting at whichever tanks was closest to them instead of going for one tank, a complete rush towards some of the tanks like the AMX 5100, the T69, or the T32. Either tank could have been a good thing to push against, but it was just scatter all over, and it cost them the first game.
It did indeed, and there's some things going awfully wrong here for me. Yeah, it's very weird. I'm getting some really weird settings. If you guys didn't know that we've adjusted a lot of the settings for the hosting today, and I'm getting some very odd things happening. Things that were working beforehand and all of a sudden have stopped working. So I don't know, but let's hope that the FPS issue is resolved for the next battle. If it's not, I'll keep fiddling with it. Make sure you keep giving us feedback in the chat how it's looking for you, and we'll go on the feedback that we see. So yeah, at the moment we are seeing some interesting lineups, some interesting tank combinations. For one team decides to go, hey, we don't want artillery, this is Ensk, this is a city map. The other team going, no, we want heavy artillery support. So much so that's as much artillery support we often see on Abbey. So that's really different decision making from both teams. Like really different. It's black and white different.
Yep. But I like that. Instead of just being the mirror matches, as we've seen both on Mines and Abbey. So it makes for a lot more exciting games. And some tanks turn out to be much more valuable than others. For instance, the Bison, completely useless in that game, just completely unlucky with all his shells.
Yeah.
So if he had been hitting, it would have been a complete wipeout, no question. But he didn't, and that's the things that you got to take into consideration when you spread out your tier points, because that can happen. Because it's artillery isn't very accurate when it comes to these kind of games where the action is fast paced and teams just don't go, okay, let's go forward. Okay, we're spotted. Then let's just sit here and shoot from here. Nope, they're gonna rush and get close, and you really have to be good with the aim.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's see. So I just realised the mistake that had occurred. I just were checking everything, and oh dear, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Hopefully, as I said, this is unfortunate that we ran out of time on our testing time before the live cast started. And to be fair, even then, the testing environment is never the same as live. For example, we were testing on replays, and maybe there's a big difference between the replays and the actual client when you're observing live instead of from a replay file. So